Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me okay. It's a little windy out here, so you might hear the breeze over my voice. I'm sorry about that. I can hear a storm brewing actually, and I wanted to get this filmed before I need to get indoors. Alright, this is my very first design team project for Tsunami Rose Designs on Etsy. For this journal, I picked Jane Austen as my theme, and in this book I have used her Sense and Sensibility journal pages, which you can see up here. This I think was one of the first Austen themed kits she had up on the store, and I remember picking it up back then, and I thought I will include it. And along with that, part of the DT kit, I got myself her Austen ephemera and florals and a few general ephemera like postcards, etc. I'll get quickly to the cover. This is it's kind of like a jute linen fabric, and this is it's a hard cover. It's not exactly a soft cover, but it's the what Yvonne calls the squishy journal. So it's a recycled cardboard cover. So these are recycled cereal boxes, and as a result it's kind of squishy, which is great when you need to keep this in a handbag or if you're planning to travel with it. For the cover, on the jute fabric, I just adhered this trim from Hobby Lobby, and there are two bits of it here and here. And then on the spine, I'm sorry about the glare, just hold on. Okay, on the spine I have this woolly rosette trim, and I have sewn the binding through the roses. Yes, this was quite complicated. It was almost, so I used pamphlet stitching, and then I almost had to go in blind. Half the time, like, I couldn't see where the holes were, and I was kind of guessing my way through, but I liked how this turned out. The intended look for this book was very rustic, organic, all frayed edges, and you can see it should I didn't want it to look finished. This is very simple. There's just an eyelet here, and then the lengths of cotton fabric on it, and I'm just going to untie that, and then that's the cover. I've kept it very smooth and plain, and just a bit of trim here, a couple Tim Holtz chit chat pieces, and then this beautiful graphic is from Daisy's Sense and Sensibility journal pages, and the florals here are also from Daisy's Decoupage flower sets. And then I have a bit of a book page down there, and some music sheets that are that have been coffee dyed. Going in, I took inspiration for this from I'm a Cool Mom, Jessica. She usually does this on her books. The fabric is adhered onto the inside of the cover. Outside cover is sewn in, and then this is just adhered with glue. And again, the same jute linen fabric pocket, and a bit of a collage, and all these florals are from Tsunami Rose. All flowers you see here are from Tsunami Rose. And this printable though is from Pinterest. I didn't buy this. This was available free for personal use. That's a journaling card with a bit of I'm not very sure what fabric this is. It's kind of between canvas and cheesecloth, and I don't know, and there's a bit of a story. I didn't buy this fabric. It's absolutely upcycled. I ordered a box of books from a thrift store, and those guys sent me the books wrapped like, sewn in a parcel, the traditional parcel. And this was the fabric they used, so I washed it, ironed it, steam ironed it, and then knocked myself out. In this journal you'll see a lot more of this fabric here, and that's just a bit of trim. And this from one of Daisy's Jane Austen kits, and it didn't specify, but then when I saw the image, to me it felt like it was Elizabeth Bennet, and she was touring Pemberley and remembering Darcy and how things would have been had their previous interaction gone differently, etc. And I felt this coat worked fine. She was convinced that she could have been happy with him when it was no longer likely that they should meet. A bit of trim here and some more of that fabric. Most of my journals are meant for writing. I tend to include a lot of these pages. You have a lot of space for writing. So journaling pages, more journaling pages, just a smaller page. There's a quote: "If I loved you less, I might be able to talk about it more." That's the very charming Mr. Knightley from Emma. There are days when I cannot decide whether I am more smitten by Mr. Darcy or Mr. Knightley. Alright, next up, there's a printable kit that Daisy has, which includes 3 pages, and one of the pages has 4 of these diagonal pockets, and then the next page has 4 bookmarks. I will show you those bookmarks, and then the third page has 4 journaling cards. That kit was so handy when I was making this journal. It just helped me start adding interactive elements in the book just immediately. The moment I had the prints with me, I knew what I wanted to do for those spreads. So that's one of the diagonal pockets from the kit. And then this is a scaled down large ephemera large elements from Daisy again. And I am going to show off my A Tattered Dream goodies that I recently got myself. The gold leaf trim, you see that's from A Tattered Dream on Etsy. Denise's store. Moving on, more journaling pages, very simple journaling pages. This I just printed it off Pinterest, and frankly it wasn't of great quality, so I didn't keep the rest of the tag. I just cut the ladies out like paper dolls, and then adhered a bit of eyelash trim from Denise's store again. This is also A Tattered Dream on Etsy. And then there's a quote here, that's Emma right there. And moving on, I love how this spread turned out. Much as I love to write, and I would like those that receive my journals as gifts to write in them, but I also love busy spreads. I love when a lot is happening. And I mentioned bookmarks. There were 4 of them, and they were meant for a tall book, and my book is 5.5 by 7.5, so the bookmarks were meant for a taller book, and they wouldn't fit here. So what I did is 2 of them I split, and I'll show you quickly how I split them. Okay, so I split one bookmark into these 2 parts, one here with the lady, and the other, the floral bit, the other corner here, and then I made tuck spots out of these 2. So it was as simple as that. I just freehand cut this out and then just distressed the edge. I love how it turned out. I hope you guys like it too, and I'll get to that later. And this has one of those free printables from Pinterest, and that's a journaling card. All these journaling cards are doubled up tea-dyed paper, copy paper, which I have glued first and then stitched around and matted and added fabric accents to them. Alright, that doily there is also from A Tattered Dream, and this paper bag is also from her store. There's, okay, you must have noticed the quote there. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you. That's Mr. Darcy for you. The distance is nothing when one has a motive. That's the spunky Miss Elizabeth Bennet. And I just made a tiny collage. This is becoming very popular in junk journals now, but if I were to look back at where I saw this first and who inspired this, I would say Amity Bloom. The idea of the fabric tip-in or just layered fabric just hanging like that, I got from her, from Amity Bloom, Nazi. And this is this journaling card is not matted. I just left it for writing and added a black mesh and crochet trim accent on the side, and I just sewed around it. This again is the Sense and Sensibility journal pages kit. This cutout is from that. I just freehand cut this, and that's because the graphic was such that if I didn't do that, the other image would be cut in half, and I didn't want to ruin that bit, and I've used it elsewhere in the book. So this is the bottom half, and these are AC Brock illustrations, which they are synonymous with Austen. You think of Austen, you think of these illustrations. This must have been a scrap left over from one of these pages, I'm not very sure which one, and I just added that there. The tag is not matted otherwise, and there's a bit of fabric and the leaf trim from Denise's store again. These envelopes are also from Daisy's store. She has a whole separate kit for envelopes with Jane Austen quotes on them, and they have inserts in them, and they're all obviously coordinated. It's perfect. I've just tea dyed these very lightly. I used to coffee dye a lot earlier, and then I've realized that I find the smell of coffee a little too strong, and I am a tea drinker, so I always have tons of tea around me. There's green tea, there's black tea, there's chai powder, which is more like instant tea, I think, if I were to put it like that. Green tea is the lightest color, and then black tea is darker, and then the instant chai powder is the darkest. That's almost like dye, all dye. Most of these I typically bake my distressed papers, but recently I've had a bit of densification in my house, and my oven is out of bounds for me right now, so I'm having to sun dry my papers. But luckily where I live, it's 100 degrees right now, and it's almost drying as fast as the oven. Another end of the paper bag, and that's a bit of a fabric layering again, with a still from the BBC production of Pride and Prejudice, and then I have another of those Pinterest freebies on a journal card here. I wanted to talk about these and I totally forgot. So these tags are I've just left them for writing, and I went over them first with some with a decoupage napkin just to add some color, and then collaged on a bit of Tim Holtz tissue wrap. It's this thing, Tim Holtz tissue wrap. Exactly, that's what it is. So that's the thing. So there's a bit of that, and then some fabric and music sheet, and then either a quote or an image. So there are 6 of these tags. I have this thing where if I create something for a journal, I need to have multiples of it, like at least 2. If it's a tag, if it's a particular kind of a pocket, I need to have at least 2 of each kind, and sometimes I have 4 or 6 of each, especially if it's tags. Alright, there's another of Daisy's Beautiful Ladies, and that is a bit of the bookmark. These are just journaling pages, just a bit of interest that I've added here. This is the top of one of those bookmarks. That's just a bit of a collage. And journaling pages. Here's a paper clip that I altered. Very simple, just sewed on some fabric and bit of trim and black mesh. And then that's another of those tags, same process, just different coats. This is one of Daisy's postcards. There's a quote from Pride and Prejudice again, some of Daisy's flowers, and then some fabric and a bit of trim. And then this is just some ink dyed paper that I had, and I just wanted it to resemble an old-fashioned letter or a note, and that's how it ties back. Right, that goes there. So this page, you'll recognize this. This again comes from the Sense and Sensibility kit that I mentioned. This is from there. And A.C. Brock illustrations again, and then Daisy's fabulous roses, and then these were just available on the net. What I did here was just made a slit here. I was very proud. I'm usually not so much into fussy cutting. It just felt very intuitive. The way the page was, I just felt like this was the thing to do. So I went over this part with some Mod Podge, outdoor Mod Podge, to give it some strength. And these edges I've distressed just to define them further. Another quote: friendship is certainly the finest balm for the pangs of disappointed love, Northanger Abbey. And more journaling pages, a doily from A Tattered Dream. And then this diagonal pocket is part of that kit of 3 pages that I mentioned. The diagonal pockets, bookmarks, and then journaling tags. This is one of those journaling tags. So there were 4 tags in all, and they all had these beautiful ladies, and then the pattern, and then it had roses, florals. Just love it. There was so little that I had to do to dress it up. I have tea dyed all the printables as well, so some of these are my tea dyeing, and then some of these have been done by Daisy herself, like they're part of the digital kit. So that's amazing. And a bit of a collage here, just some fabric and trim. And another coat here, another of those ladies, just adding some glamour to the otherwise blank page. And another quote, this time it's from Sense and Sensibility, and this lady right here is another of those bookmarks cut in half, and another of those pages. This is from the Sense and Sensibility kit, and again I have made a slit in the paper here in the page, and Mod Podge the flowers, and then these guys just sit in there. Moving on, this is one of the bookmarks. The altered paper clip is just a bit of fabric, black mesh, eyelash trim, and then this Hobby Lobby trim, and then that is gold leaf trim from A Tattered Dream. And another of those ladies, the big elements scaled down, and an envelope with a quote on it. And this is the other side of that, other half of that page, this page. This is what was left over. And another one of Daisy's postcards, which I altered just a bit, and then a blank journaling page with some fabric on the bottom. Those ladies and journaling page. This journaling card is again from that kit, the one with the bookmarks and pockets and cards. And this is the top of that bookmark. There she is. So this is the top of that. Another quote from Emma, if you'd like to know which one it is. Okay. And just a bit of interest here with that Tim Holtz tissue wrap and a flower, one of Daisy's flowers, and another of these 4 letters. And this one, I loved how this worked out. This is a quote from Persuasion: Let us never underestimate the power of a well-written letter. And then a bit of collaging, papers and fabric, and then one of the decoupage flowers from Tsunami Rose, and this is some note paper. There we go. And another of those tags, that's the proposal scene from Emma. Another altered paperclip. A doily, journal pages, that's the third signature begins, and another of those journal cards, and this is just a bit of trim for a belly band, and journal pages, more quotes, just a bit of interest there, and another tag, a diagonal pocket, both from the Austen kids. And journaling pages. This is a tag tuck spot, and more journaling pages, and then this diagonal pocket I was so proud of. I love how the sewing worked out. These flowers, you just cannot beat them. They are stunning, and I kind of liked how this worked out, though they are not from the same kit. Another doily, and then another envelope. A bit of interest there, and then another journal page, another of those tags. These are a couple of these AC Brock illustrations that I had with me. That's another tiny collage, another tag. I love this one. I like how all the decoupage worked out on this, and then this comes from another, like one of my favorite scenes from Emma. There's just a bit of fabric detailing here. Another bookmark. Isn't this stunning? I absolutely love it. Another altered paper clip, a simple one, and some more trim, and a journaling page, and another Pride and Prejudice coat with some accents done. And then that is the corner flip up, or the Rita Donnelly pocket, and that's the last page actually. And I wanted this page to match the first page, and this is Elizabeth, and this I felt was Emma. She is probably just had the fallout with Miss Bates, and she's staring at their house and thinking of how close they were at one point, and the coat is from Emma. And then that's the back inside cover, a pocket again. Heart belongs at Pemberley, that is just a print off of Pinterest. And then Daisy's flowers again, and fabric trim, and then this tag. And that's it. That's the back. That's my 3 signature 120 plus page strong Jane Austen themed junk journal. Hope you guys like it, and if you do let me know. If you have feedback for me, do let me know about that as well. I am still not happy with the way I film, so if you have feedback on how to make my videos better, please let me know. I will love you for that, and I already love you for staying with me through this long video. I love you all. Bye bye.